We are live. Welcome to the Bradbury Challenge, the podcast where three writers attempt to write one short story each week. My name is Maya, and I am here with Chrissy Moss and Gerald Hornsby. How are you guys doing this week?
Peachy.
Good.
Now,
Peachy.
I know that Chrissy has some good news, and I told her to wait to tell us until we got on air. So, Chrissy, I'm winding you up. Now I'm letting you go.
Oh,
hope
you're
it's
going to just
good.
put me on the spot like that?
Yes,
Totally.
Better be
That's my
really
job.
good.
So, the storytelling storytelling podcast, or story roundtable podcast, you know what that is, right? Spurt.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
They did a giveaway.
Self-publishing roundtable.
That's it. I couldn't remember it, and I'm the one who started it. Well, me along with 5 other people. But anyway, they did a free promotion where they had a whole bunch of authors sign up. I think there was 63 when I last counted.
Mm-hmm.
Each of them was giving away a free book. And I put one of my books in there. I put the first novel in my series. So there is
awesome.
a prequel short story that goes with it, but I put the novel in. And it got, I think it was 1,100 downloads.
Whoa.
Blimey.
Yeah, that's a lot of downloads.
Wow.
Plus, it's been 3 days since the free promotion, and in the last 3 days, I have had over 200 pages read in KU, or 2,000 pages, I'm sorry. So
Wow.
I've had several people reading the series through the KU, and I've had a few sales in just 3 days.
Oh my God, Lizzie, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Like, I need to do this again. This was so awesome.
I am so completely proud of you right now.
Mhm.
Wow.
I mean,
It
I've
took
done
a lot of stones to put your book in that, you know?
Well,
Wow.
I've done free promotions before, but this is the first one that's been this well received. So,
What do you think the difference was? Do you think it was just their platform, or do you think it was targeted more towards people that would like your book?
I don't know. I know there were a couple of people. I know that at least a couple of the people who were in this were, they had huge mailing lists.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the requirements of being in it was that you send it out to your mailing list.
Oh.
Which
okay.
I did to mine, but I had only I think I have 300 people in my mailing list now. Some of them were saying they had 10,000 people in their mailing list.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And a couple of the other people also put their books in Free Booksy and a couple of other things. So we were having tons of cross promotion from all of these people, which was really awesome. And I got pretty, I adjusted my keywords on my book. So it came up in a couple of categories instead of being down lower. And so I was number 2 in occult and number 4 in coming of age science fiction fantasy.
Crikey.
So
that's fantastic.
It worked out.
That is a really exciting week. I'm so glowing for you right now. Gerald, how was your week?
Yeah, I can't say.
You can't top that. She just
No, she's.
I just ruined everything.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it was a week. It was okay, thank you.
It was a week.
It
was a week. It started and finished. And I'm still here. So that's good. That's positive.
There was a Monday last week, and there's a Monday this week, and it just keeps going.
And I'm there for both. That's brilliant.
You're not old enough to talk like that. Did you get any writing done this week?
Oh yes.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got some writing done on my novel, which I've been sort of stalled on for a while. So I was very pleased about that.
That's wonderful. That is really, really great. I had a very eventful week. I got sick, and I got really sick. Ended up in the ER. I got sick right before I was supposed to move into my new room, and the new room it's in an old mansion that has been broken up into like 17 rooms, and there's all these like weird artists living in it. Yeah, it used to be called the Art House, but it got sold, and they took down a huge treehouse installation that used to be in the back. So now it's called Castle Art Switch, which is just weird. It's like Auschwitz, but it's Art Switch.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Okay. So it's
were they
and
thinking
the
when
guy
they
that had my room,
did that?
just sat in there and smoked constantly. So I was already sick, and then I had to move into this new room. And literally, I walked in the room, I turned on the air conditioner. An hour later, the smell was so heavy, I ended up in the ER.
Oh, jeez.
But you're a smoker.
Huh?
You're a smoker.
Not like that.
Oh, okay.
Not like that. I smoke intermittently. I quit frequently, and I do not smoke inside. I actually can't even be close to somebody who smokes heavily because I will instantly get sick.
Yeah.
And so I ended up in the ER, and when I got out, I was on a ton of steroids, and I learned how to take apart an air conditioner and clean it out, and the entire inside of the air conditioner, when I dumped it was like bong water.
Ew.
Yeah, I scrubbed all the walls with bleach, and last night was the first night that I could sleep in there and wake up comfortably.
Wow.
I'm still going to go once more over all the walls, and then I'm going to paint them. But
I've also
night
been
and
told that if you put a container, like a big bowl of white vinegar out,
I did that too.
It pulls out the smell.
Yeah, I did that too, and it really helped. But I am going to go once more over all the walls, and then I'm going to sand them because they're uneven. I'm going to patch them. I'm going to paint them in lots of pretty taupey and bluey and
How long are
sandy
you
colors.
planning on being there?
That's the other thing. It looks like I say 6 months, but I don't know because there's a lot of other stuff going on here. Like, a lot of stuff going on. So on the writing front, what's happened is I'm attracting a lot of stuff here. And I've run into multiple people who can actually help me with the spiritual aspects of my revision of past.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
I've met several people that are practitioners, like daily heavy practitioners of 2 different African traditional religions.
Okay.
And I've talked to them about going through those scenes to make sure they're accurate, to make sure that the scenario even works. I don't want to be offending anybody, but I want it to have like that realism that really brings out the story. So it's been intense since I've been here. Yeah, I attract all kinds of energy, and it's just weird. It's really, really weird. I love the art house. That's the other thing, is being around so many different types of artists and seeing how they all work in different ways is really like inspiring and like opening up that side of me. And so it's been an amazing experience. I think I'm going to be here 6 months.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually looking at a part-time job when I leave this. So, yeah, it's been a huge event for all of us. It seems like it's been a really, really intense week, which brings me to the question. One second. I'm going to have to turn off Slack so that I'm not getting all this from any.
Sorry.
I'm just one thing after another. Click, 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 and it's all coming into my mic. Okay, so tell her to stop slacking.
I've just turned it off.
I'm trying. This is like mid-record. I just needed to be quiet. And we're on air. Dang it, I can't get it to stop. It's like interrupting my thought process. I can't do this. Okay. I finally figured out how to turn Slack off. That took me a minute. Sorry, everybody. So what was I going to say? Oh, yeah, that totally it was like in my private Slack. Okay, so my question is, we're working on novels. We are working on short stories, but not consistently. At the beginning of the show, I say we're writing 1 short story each week. Right now, it really is. We're all writing each week, and Gerald's writing a short story each week or two. So my question is, should we open up and be a little more honest about where we are in our writer's journey with regards to how we describe the show?
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Gerald is shaking his head no. He wants to write that darn short story.
Well,
He
he's
does not want to give us
perfectly
a call
happy
for
to
writing
do
on our
so.
damn stupid novels.
Yeah, I think we can do if we at the end of the year we're doing the Bradbury Challenge for a year awesome.
I
Al
love having video with Maya.
My life.
Al fresco podcasting. It really works. Um,
Okay,
no,
what are you going to say?
I think it would be nice to keep it
You
as it
still
is for
want to
this
try
year.
to write these darn short stories.
Of course.
Well,
So,
Even though
but
the
then,
because he's
other two of
doing
us every
well.
week are like, I haven't done it. I'm failed. I'm working on my
Well,
novel.
To be fair, this week I did write a short story.
Congratulations.
It was terrible, and it sucked, but I did write it. And the thing about it was, I got to the end and I realized that the tone is just not working at all. It was supposed to be kind of eerie and kind of creepy, and
Mhm.
it ended up being more awkward and just awkward. Like the main character, I had made him an awkward turtle, and
Okay.
it just didn't end up working.
Do you think it was just because you made the character awkward and you wrote it too awkward? Or do you think it was accidentally awkward? Were you planning on making him awkward and just went overboard?
I was planning on making him awkward because he's picking up a hitchhiker on the side of the road, and it's a woman, and so he's worried that, if he's doing this, that it's going to look like he's a pervert or something, but
Yeah.
he's just trying to help a girl on the side of the road.
Okay.
And so he's rather awkward about all of everything he does
So,
with her.
what is it about the tone that you think isn't working?
It doesn't have the creepiness that I wanted, because it's supposed to be kind of creepy and eerie feeling, and it ends
Okay.
up just being awkward.
Okay, so it sounds like you were trying to make it awkward, but you didn't want to make it out that he was a complete pervert, and in the process you lost that suspense part of it.
Well, I was trying to make him awkward, but the situation creepy.
Yeah.
And maybe just him a little oblivious to the what's going on. But
that's a hard one, because I ran into that
exactly.
with that flash fiction story that's on my site, the one with the girl that gets picked up by the guy who's actually dumping a body. Did you read that one?
No. I was going with the old story of a guy who picks up a girl on the side of the road who ends up being a dead woman.
Oh, okay.
And he comes across the car accident where
the reason why I mentioned that story is because I ran into the situation where I wanted it to be awkward, but also comforting in a way, because there's a twist that happens in it, and I ended up having to wipe that story completely. Yeah. Originally, it was like it was supposed to be flash fiction. It ended up being almost 3,000 words. I cut it down to 1,000. It didn't work, and I rewrote the whole thing and then cut it down to 1,000 again.
Yeah.
The story works now.
Right.
But what I did was I just said fuck it, and I wrote what I was feeling rather than what I cerebrally wanted the story to portray.
Yeah.
And it came out significantly better. And one thing that I think might help is that episode on writing excuses that talks about the sliders. It's like characters have like 3 sliders, and you can't have them all up or all down, and they have to be in balance. And so balancing the creepy with the saving, with ulterior motive, like that might help. Gerald, what do you got?
Where I got with what? Sorry.
To hell! This is Chrissy Therapy Hour.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Hello, on topic.
Oh,
I'm
You have a
putting up
topic?
these tricks for you.
I didn't know we were trying to be therapeutic.
Actually,
I don't-
This happened when you were away.
I
This is
don't
what
really
happens
get.
when you leave the girls alone too long. I'm sorry.
I know.
Now you just gotta
I
join
don't-
in.
I normally get told off for trying to fix things. It's
You're that guy.
Sympathise,
That guy.
empathise. Don't
Wow.
fix it. So,
You've been trained well, but not for the podcast.
I don't. My own personal feeling is if the story doesn't work, it doesn't work. I think you either if you like the premise of the story and the idea behind the story, then if you've written it and it doesn't work, and you just rewrite it. I think I've never been one to over workshop my writing. So if I especially the short stuff, I think if it's working and it goes well, then you do it. If you, because I did this. Yeah. Okay. What I did, I started preparing the NaNoWriMo thing for November, but to sort of get, I don't know, to get over the idea behind it, and something wasn't quite working, so I wrote a piece of flash fiction which was based on the first chapter of this, what might turn out to be a book. So I did this, and it was a complete story, but I then put it to my critique group, and I'm getting full feedback this Wednesday, but I got a couple of bits of feedback already, and they said that we were dumped straight in the middle of the action. We were dumped straight in what was happening to this person, and they said we didn't have chance to build up a relationship with this main character in the book. So here she is, and bang, this happens to her. Because that was a sort of, I was started writing the novel like I write short fiction. You go, here's a character, bang. So I thought that's pretty good. That's so I'm not going to, the chapter I've written, which is about 1,500 words or something, that's just going to get put to one side because it obviously isn't the first chapter, and it isn't the way to start the book. So I'll write something again from in a different way, and introduce the character properly, and why she is what she is and where she is, and all this sort of stuff. So I think I'm not afraid of rewriting something or just ditching something if it's not working.
Yeah, I think in that respect, me and Gerald are very much alike in that. Like, when that wasn't working, just dump it and rewrite it. And sometimes what happens, I don't remember who said this, but they were talking about how when you're writing, sometimes you have to write through that surface idea to get to the main idea.
Yeah.
And maybe it's awkward because you're still working with all that surface idea.
Well, I started kind of rewriting it where it was the guy in a pub just having a conversation with somebody about what happened. And that actually seemed to work better.
Really? That's weird. I wonder what it was that was different for it.
That he was just talking to another person, and so it was natural conversation instead of me trying to describe things. Because I think part of it was just I was overly descriptive.
Yeah.
And
I'm running into that with a book we're reading, Gerald.
Yeah. Well, and I'm trying to write a short story, and you can only put so much description in a short story. And I've had a couple of other stories that I wrote recently that I am having the same problem with. I'm like, there's just too much description, and I need to cut it all out and just get to the bones of the matter.
Yeah.
Or it's just not going to work. So.
Yeah. That's the time when I start breaking out pen and paper.
Right?
Yeah. That's when I break out my notebook. I'm like, okay, I got to get the technical side of my brain out of the picture.
Yeah. So I have 2 stories now that are mostly completed that I'm just going to have to rewrite because there's just too much description.
Yeah.
There's too much fluff that is getting in the way of the
Ooh, I'm rubbing
story.
off. I heard Chrissy say too much fluff. Woohoo! I'm excited.
Well, in a novel, it would be great because it would be more character development, more backstory. But because I'm trying to keep it within so many words,
Yeah.
it's not working because there was an invitation for a short story anthology, but all those stories have to be less than 1,000 words. And I
Yeah.
have a great story that would be good for it because it's the same theme and everything, but I'm just being too wordy. So I need to strip it down and get the bones of the matter.
Well, on the topic of wiping whole sections, I'm wiping about 30,000 words from my novel and rewriting them from scratch. I'm
Oh.
rewriting the entire New Orleans section.
That's always wonderful.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it, but I'm kind of like, really? Am I really going to do this? like that's what's going on in my head. Really, Maya? You're going to rewrite the entire New Orleans section. But honestly, it's less work to rewrite it than to go through every single line and fix it.
Yeah, I've had that.
And it'll be more smooth, and it will flow better, and I can get in the reflection and the resonance that I've been thinking about for the past few months. There are some things that happen in the beginning of the book that I want to have echoes of happen later on. And I to go through that line by line and try to insert that after the fact, I'm just done. I'm done. So those chapters no longer exist. They're in a special folder on Scrivener, and start it all over.
Yeah. Yeah, I did that with it.
I like that special folder in Scrivener.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the special folder. It's the cop-out, I'm done trying to rewrite this, let me rescue myself folder.
Yeah. We can't quite throw it away because there's a lot of effort in there, but it's just...
Yeah, and there's some good stuff in there I don't want to forget that was in there. Yeah. I'm like, okay, remember you did that, and you want to do that again, kind of situations going on, especially like some of the scenes in the mental hospital. I don't want to lose those scenes. They were really good. Yeah, they needed help. There were some things that need in there, but I want to remember the tone and the feel and how I made that fuzzy reality feeling feel. I want to make sure I get that in the second version, but I'm completely rewriting it.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
This is partly the reason I've got something in excess of 30 novel things sitting around, because when I get to somewhere that I realise the book isn't working, I just put it to one side and do something else. And
yeah.
The novel that I'm working on now was one of these, and it was about 25,000 words, and I didn't like where it was going, but I submitted the first couple of chapters to my critique group, and they said, wow, this is really good, I want to find out what happens, you've got to finish this, and they beat me up a bit, so but yeah, I took about 20,000 words out and just rewrote
Well,
it.
I've been revising this thing for 2 years, but my version of revision has literally been pages and pages and pages of notes. Just reams of notations and research. So now it's time to actually change the words.
Yeah.
And I finally have the inspiration to do it. You know, being in a really creative environment is really helping me be like, oh, okay, I'm going to open up my laptop and work on this.
Yep.
And instead of being like, oh my goodness, this is a big job, let me write something else.
Because you got to finish what you write.
Yep. I got to finish revising that first one so that I can not only become a finisher in as far as finishing rough drafts and finishing short stories, I need to have a finished novel so that I can internalize that sense of identity that I am the type of writer that finishes a final draft.
Right.
Yeah.
And right now, I've internalized the idea that I can finish a rough draft. I've internalized the idea that I can revise short stories, but I have not internalized that idea around novels.
Yeah, that took me a while too, because my first novel, it took me 5 years to write the first draft of it.
Oh wow, that's a long time.
Yes. Thankfully, it died in a tragic computer accident because it was terrible.
Wonderful. That's what all first novels should do.
Well, and I can see parts of that novel in my later work, which I'm fine with, because there were parts of it that were part of me, and good parts that were okay in theory, just not well written.
I think I should start a service where, for novelists that finish their first novel and they know it's bad but they're too attached to it, I
Uh-huh.
come in and remove it from their system, and they can only get it back if they pay me a couple grand, which they'll never do. And it's like this author rescue service.
I actually have half of it sitting in my closet somewhere. I haven't seen it in years, but I
Yeah,
know it's
it's
there.
best that you forget where it's at.
I have. It's in there somewhere. You just don't know quite where. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Oh,
And
it's
then
kind
my
of funny. About 2 years ago, because I got hundreds of thousands of words sitting around on various hard disks. I started collating all my work and finding out where it was and what it was, and put all that into a spreadsheet. And it was kind of interesting to see what sort of stories I'd been writing or what sort of stories I'd begun writing, and
uh,
and it sort of fitted into a couple of categories, a couple of genres that I didn't realise I was writing in
whoa,
until
wow, that's an interesting practice.
yeah, I wasn't intending to write in this. One of them is sort of pre-apocalyptic, so I want to link what's going on now to what might happen in the near future,
yeah.
um, and I'd written about 3 or 4 of these things, and it's only when I put them in a spreadsheet and I thought, oh, look at that,
There's a pattern here.
yeah, there's a pattern here. So
That's really cool.
it's quite interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
You have a body of work.
I
That's
have
what
a
they call
huge
that.
yeah,
when
it's
I
all
when
rubbish.
I did something similar with just the ones I finished, and I
Mm.
found that I had done a whole bunch of thriller, horror-esque type of things. Always thought, I'm a fantasy writer,
Yeah.
but I actually had a whole bunch of horror, and I'm like, where did those come from?
Yeah.
Mhm. There are definitely
That's
horror
funny.
elements in my stories. I read a lot of horror as a kid, and it had a huge impact on me. And it definitely, like, you can sense my horror roots in my writing. I can be writing straight up literary fiction. There's little like drops of horror in there, just
Yeah.
peppered like a little garnish of horror on top.
Nothing wrong with garnish.
Garnish is
No.
great. So, is there
Each to
anything
meal.
that you guys wanted to talk about that's been going on for you guys that's a challenge for you coming up over the next week?
Um,
Uh,
Still the time management. I'm still working on that. I My word count this month has been tragic.
Yeah.
But
This is the best I feel going into a week. Like, I feel really solid,
Mhm.
and I know I'm going to get a ton of writing done. I can just feel it. I'm getting that itch. I'm like a racehorse that's like sitting around, and they put you in the corral, and then right before the race, you're starting to get antsy,
Mhm.
and you know you're about ready to bust out. That's where I'm at right now. I've got this antsy, jittery, I need to write feeling, and I'm really excited for the next week coming up.
Yeah. I,
yeah.
I'm trying to get there.
You'll get
Mm.
there.
It's I'm to the point where I know I've had a touch of writer's block, and I admit that some of it's from the job,
Hmm.
but not all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on.
And I love hearing your honesty on that. You know, when we're honest about that, it makes
Mhm.
everything so much easier. And I think it really helps the listeners too, because they have those times too. Like when I was traveling and like living in my car and like trying to get cross country with no internet and just
Right.
everything was falling apart, I was barely scraping by with any kind of writing. But by being honest about it, it did take some of the edge off.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. What was
one
that?
thing that I did this week, and it's something I've mentioned before. I don't know if I've mentioned it on here, but I've mentioned it other places. Is this moving to a different environment when you're stuck on something, and
Mhm.
as I said, I've been working on my novel, and I've got about 5/8 of the way through, so pretty much towards that point where it all starts going badly wrong. Um, so what I did is I took myself off with a notepad. I went into, we've got a little summer house in the garden, so I went in there just with my notepad, no computer, and thought of that. And I also visited a cafe, again with no computer, no internet, just a notepad, and thinking, where am I with this novel? What's happening? And it's a crime novel, so you sort of got to work out who's the murderer, who isn't the murderer, why they are, why they're not, the red herrings, all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of quite technical, but it really helped, and I have now got this last third of the book planned out properly. I know who's going to get it, who isn't going to get it, and it's so this. But I couldn't have done it by sitting in front of my computer.
Yeah.
Because I would have just got, I can't do it. What's happening on Facebook and stuff. So
Right.
so really, this different environment, different surroundings. No internet, just paper, and just think about what you're trying to write and where you're trying to get with it.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that lack of distraction. That's one of the things I'm looking at as I look at my room, because essentially it's an aesthetics room right now. I have a mat that I'm sleeping on, and that's it. I have like no furniture, nothing, and I don't mind it if the walls and everything were clean and serene colors. It's actually very productive to be in there.
Uh-huh.
And so as I'm looking at getting a futon and possibly getting like a coffee table, I'm realizing I don't want a lot of furniture. I want to keep that aesthetic feel, because my environment is so just minimal that my brain has more room to just kind of just go off.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying that aspect, and I think I'm going to keep that for a while and see how it affects my writing. I've never lived in a situation like this. It's so completely different. The room is so bare, and there's no distractions, and it's freaking amazing. Is all I gotta say. It's absolutely freaking amazing. So
Yeah,
there you go.
The clutter in my house is getting a little. Every once in a while, you just have to go through and clean everything, and it's
Yeah.
In between the time when you realize there's clutter and the time you fix it, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Yeah. So are you guys going to read this week?
No, because it was
Cheryl?
terrible.
Yeah, I can if you like.
Yeah, I'm going to read as well.
Oh, good. Excellent.
How about you go first?
Okay. I'll read. It's only 350 words, so I'll read it. Again, it's Flash, obviously, so I'll read that. I don't write anything more than 500 words. I think I'll get a nosebleed if I do that.
I'm going to read a complete Flash as well. We have a treat for our listeners this week.
Oh, excellent. Oh, I look forward to that. Okay, this is sort of inspired by Italy this week. They had an earthquake, and a couple of towns was sort of turned into rubble. So anyway, there is silence after the creaking, the shaking, the crashing, the splintering, the smashing. There is silence. I opened my eyes, dust-covered, lids blinking, trying to make out where I was, what had happened. 1 minute we'd been eating, drinking, laughing. The family gathered together for the first time in months. There had been fish, my favourite, and pasta, potatoes, risotto, beautiful food cooked with love. And then there was a rumble, as if a jet was flying low over the house. And then I look up. There is some light seeping through the jumbled mass of concrete, which is piled high above my head. So it still must be daytime. Is it today or tomorrow? I don't know. I try to lift my head. It moves, but it hurts a lot. I can't feel my arms or legs, and when I try to move them, nothing happens. I am immobile in the remains of my house with none of my family around me. I begin to cry, tears washing my eyes clean, trickling down my face and into my mouth. It tastes bitter and gritty. I try to spit it out, but it takes too much effort, and before I know what is happening, before I have a chance to be frightened, darkness closes around me. I wake again to the sound of shouting. Somewhere near to me, someone is calling. I don't recognize the voice, but I try to reply. My throat is filled with dust. It is sore and parched. I croak and I cough, and they hear me. They call. I try to answer, but it is too difficult, and the voices move away again. I try to call them. Don't go. I'm here. I'm alive. But nothing comes out but a muffled series of grunts. I have to let them know I'm down here. I feel the darkness begin to creep in the edges of my vision, and I fight it, widening my eyes, but it's not my eyes. For the first time, I'm truly frightened, just before everything fades to black. Another cheery little ditty.
My type of story.
Yeah. People
Okay
dying.
then.
Yeah.
This story is a story that I mentioned to Chrissy earlier when she was talking about her issues with tone and having the creepiness and the awkwardness. It's called Rusted Metal. I think I might have read a portion of this, but I don't think I ever read the whole thing. It is posted on my website underneath Flash Fiction for free, and so that's what it is, Rusted Metal. Sarah struggled through dense brush. The old man's pace challenged her lack of balance, and a hole in the bottom of her shoe kept snagging fallen branches. Slow down, she called. I can't keep up. Just go home, he said. His voice was full of bristle. Sarah rushed to make up the distance. I can't, you know that. Looking at the sky, he gripped the shovel till his hands turned pale. You can't come with me. You could have left me to die out there. I should have. But you didn't, she said. He turned and placed his hand on his leather holster. The man led Sarah to an old silver pickup truck. He opened the passenger door with a grunt and slammed the metal once she was inside. What the hell are you doing out there, he said. The truck bounced and fought loose gravel until it caught traction. Girl your age needs to be careful. She turned to the window. We all got troubles, I guess, he grumbled. Thirsty? No, I mean, yes, sir. There's water in the back, and don't call me sir, I ain't your daddy. Sarah tore through the case of bottled water sitting on the back seat. The mountain faded, and sunlight caught a pile of blue tarps in the truck bed. Did your dog die? Huh? Where are you burying your dog? He turned his head to open the window and spit. You want to stay in this truck? Don't ask questions. Sorry. Her voice quivered, and he raised an eyebrow. I'm Jack, he said. When the sky darkened, he pulled into an old hotel. Sarah watched him disappear into the building and let her tears fall. She searched the parking lot anxiously, then relaxed. Touching her tender cheek, she wiped her face with the edge of her T-shirt. We'll stay here for the night, Jack said, opening the door. Tomorrow, we'll separate. They walked towards the hotel room in silence with her on his heel. You got someplace to go? No, sir. I mean, Jack. There's a bathroom in the back, he said, opening the door. Go get washed up, and you can get some sleep. She hesitated before disappearing into the washroom. When she came out, Jack was asleep on the bed, still clothed to his boots. She curled up on his arm, comforted by the smell of tobacco and dust. The nightmare started slowly. She sat up with a scream on her lips and opened her eyes. Jack was gone. Sarah's heart raced until she found tracks leading down a dirt path. After an hour, she heard grunting and quickened her pace. Jack? He jumped. Sarah glanced at the dead woman on the ground. She peeked out from the tarp like a badly rolled burrito. Sarah and Jack regarded one another. I can help. He hesitated and held out the shovel with a squint. She took the handle, and rising on her toes, she kissed his cheek. So there you go.
Wow.
Okay.
Like a badly rolled burrito. I love that. Oh,
That was a great description, actually.
very good.
So there you go. Awkward, creepy, daddy
Oh,
issues,
yes.
major.
Maybe just a little.
Just a little.
Wow.
Hey, who am I to judge, you know?
Yeah.
Everybody has has somebody out there.
Yes.
You know, I love that story. It's one of my few stories that I actually genuinely love.
Oh, well, that's good.
And there's things about it that I can fix, but I genuinely like that story. And of all my flash fiction, I think it's probably the only one that's like that I really genuinely love.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not a flash fiction writer. It's really hard.
Yes, yes, it is.
It's good. You did a great job because you get a really good sense of location and place and environment. And I love I can help. Excellent. I love that.
Okay, so on that note, we haven't. Does anybody have a writing prompt?
Yes.
Okay, hit it, Chrissy.
You find a pair of broken glasses sitting on your nightstand, but you don't wear glasses.
And that is your writing prompt for the week. And I want to thank you both for being on the show today, and I want to thank all of our listeners for listening. If you would like to learn more about the show, let me start over. I want to thank all of our listeners, and if you would like to learn more about the show, read the show notes, and explore our other shows, please visit literaryroadhouse.com. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao.